You sit by a crackling hearth, the cold of a medieval night seeping through the walls, your breath a faint mist in the dim light. The village outside is quiet, save for the distant howl of a dog beneath a bloated moon. Your mind churns. Why does your heart feel heavy? Your thoughts tangled like thorns. In this age, no one offers you a chair to confess your fears. No wise listener unravels your pain. Instead, they speak of fluids, a strange alchemy of the body that rules your soul. The Greeks long dead gifted this idea to your world, their voices echoing through time. Hippocrates and Galen names, whispered by men in robes who clutch knives and leeches. They say your moods, your tears over scorched bread, your sudden rage at a splintered table, all stem from a stew of humours, blood yellow, bile, black bile, phlegm sloshing within you like a storm in a cauldron. Too much blood and you're a fool, laughing too loud until they slice your veins to drain the cheer. Too much yellow bile and you're a beast, fists clenched ready to shatter the tavern's peace. Black bile, cold and dry, drags you into melancholy's pit where thoughts grow heavy as iron. Phlegm makes you sluggish, a shadow lingering too long by the fire. You feel their eyes on you, the village healer, with his stained apron, muttering about balance, his blade glinting with promise. No guild covers this cure, no coin buys relief. You're left to wonder, is your soul sick? Or is it just the world pressing its weight against your chest? Like subscribe, tell us your darkest winter tale, what makes your humours boil. You clutch your arm, the skin still stinging where the healer's knife bit deep, a sluggish stream of red dripping into a clay bowl. The room smells of iron and damp straw, and the healer's voice is a low drone asking if you feel moist or dry today. His eyes squinting at your urine's hue in a glass vial. You try to explain the ache in your chest the way the world feels like a fog, but he waves you off, consulting a star chart as if the heavens hold your sorrow's key. In this medieval village, this is medicine mainstream, revered as certain as the church bells toll. They don't ask about your dreams or fears. They blame the humours, always the humours. Too hot, too cold, too wet, too dry, your body's a battleground they aim to conquer with a blade. Bloodletting is their art, a grim ritual where they open your veins hoping to pour out the sadness before you faint. If that fails, they press laxatives into your palm, insisting your soul's pain lives in your bowels. You wince as the healer sniffs your breath, his face grim, muttering about divine intervention. Outside the village, whispers of your imbalance, their pity sharp as a blade's edge. You're not mad, not yet, but the weight of their cures feels heavier than the grief you carry. What would you confess if they'd listen? Share your thoughts in the comments. Where are you tuning in from? You gaze up at the full moon, its silver glow spilling over your skin like a lover's forbidden touch, cold yet igniting a fire within. In the medieval night, the air thick with the scent of damp earth and distant wood smoke, you feel your thoughts scramble your body, humming with restless energy. They say the moon pulls at your fluids, sloshing them like wine in a goblet, turning your brain to undercooked chaos. Not just folklore whispered by the well-doctors, priests, philosophers, even the madmen yelling in the square all swear by it. Lunar. That ancient word, births, lunatic, a label slapped on you. If a moonlight catches you pacing, weeping, or howling like the village dogs, you imagine the celestial body as a capricious mistress, her light a seductive curse that lures you into frenzy. Epilepsy seizes you under her watch. Insomnia keeps you tossing in sweat-dampened sheets. Hallucinations dance like shadows in the frost. Farmers mutter as sheep skitter and oxen bolt, blaming her bad energy. No childhood tales to soothe, they query the sky, not your heart. You're moonstruck, locked away until the cycle wanes, a medieval timeout in chains. Intrigue brews, is it her pull or hidden desires bubbling up violent urges suppressed by day? The stars align for herbs or leeches, but never understanding. Congrats on surviving the night. Pity about the madness creeping in. You kneel in the dim church, the stone floor biting into your knees, incense curling around you like a lover's breath, heavy with secrets and sin. Your mind is a storm depression's weight crushing your chest, anxiety clawing at your throat like a demon's grip. In medieval shadows, the priest looms, his eyes piercing, voice a thunderous whisper. This is no mere ailment, but a spiritual war. Sin, demons, or cursed bread from your neighbour. Anything but your weary soul he probes skip. church, coveted the smith's wife, laughed too wildly at the feast. You confess words tumbling out in a rush, his hand heavy on your head as he prescribes confession fasting, a reminder you're dust. For hallucinations or silence, he calls vigils, pilgrimages, or exorcisms, minor ones, as first a chant heavy eviction of the foul spirit nesting in your ribs, excessive joy, vanity, deep sorrow, sloth of the soul, acedia treated with psalms and guilt's sharp lash. You're morally slippery, not trying hard enough, they say, but in the candles' flicker you sense betrayal, the church's comfort, a double-edged blade giving meaning to chaos, yet wielding it like a weapon. Violence lurks in the rituals, a priest's fervour turning to frenzy, his cross a brand against your skin. Yet oddly reassuring, your pain has cosmic purpose. Even if the cure bleeds you dry, they fought, loved, bled humans, stubborn as ever. You hear voices whispering in the dark corners of your mind, seductive murmurs that curl like smoke around your thoughts, or perhaps you speak too fondly to your soup, your fingers tracing patterns in the steam, as if caressing a lover's skin. In this medieval haze, where shadows dance with forbidden desires, the priest arrives not with gentle words, but with a theatrical fury, his robe swirling like a storm. No wellness whispers here. It's exorcism, a visceral eviction of the demon squatting behind your eyes, rent-free and ravenous. Minor ones first, the Tugiselt circle of fervent prayer, holy water splashing across your bare chest, cooling the heat of your inner turmoil, mutterings in Latin that vibrate through your bones. But if the spirit clings stubborn as a betrayed lover's grudge, it escalates to major spectacle. You're the star tied down with rough ropes biting into your wrists, a choir of monks chanting rhythms that pulse like a heartbeat in frenzy. They yell, "Depart, foul spirit!" Into your face, their breath hot and fervent relics pressed against your skin, salt sprinkled like forbidden spice. Violence erupts, sage smoked into your ears, burning your senses, fasting until hunger gnaws like a blade in your gut. The town gathers, a communal thrill, part ritual, part gossip-fueled entertainment, their eyes wide with intrigue as betrayal whispers. Was it really a demon or just your shattered heart? You flinch, they cheer. Evidence it's working, but you're no villain, just overwhelmed your panic, a betrayal of the flesh. In the end, if it fails, you're wicked beyond help, left to the mercy of the night. You weep without cause at the dinner table, your tears mingling with the steam of cooling stew, or stare too long at the flickering firewood, your thoughts a whirlwind of philosophical despair, fingers tracing the rough grain as if seeking hidden warmth. Not disturbed enough for ropes and shouts yet, troubling enough to warrant whispers, enter the gentle cure, a monastic embrace that smells of incense and stone where suffering purifies like a lover's harsh kiss. They deem your woes spiritual, to be conquered through reflection, discipline, relentless repentance. Have you tried feeling bad about it? You hear the monk's voice, a soothing rumble. You're guided into silence, prayer vigils under starlit arches, fasting until your body aches with holy hunger, sleeping on straw mats that prick your skin like forgotten thorns. Voluntarily or not, you enter the monastery, a retreat of cells and Bibles, and 8 hours of chanting that echoes in your chest, you occasionally warming your belly but never your soul. Is it help or exhaustion masking the storm relics await? Touch a saint's bone fragment for unease. Sleep near martyr's blood for insomnia, clutch Saint Euphemia's toe against unreasoned sadness. Holiness, contagious as desire or plague. Compassion here, no blades or chains, just chants labelling your thoughts. Problematic, a monk's hand on your shoulder, firm yet intriguing whispering of community and routine. But betrayal lurks. Some fast until clarity breaks like dawn, others until vengeance simmers against the divine. Closest to care in this gritty world, yet laced with sarcasm, congrats, you survived the vigil, pity about forgetting joy. You wander barefoot through the misty village streets, your whispers to angels echoing off the thatched roofs, or debate theology with the barn's snorting pigs, their eyes glinting like hidden daggers in the twilight. No longer moody sighs by the fire, your madness spills out raw, uncontainable, a storm that demands chains. In this medieval grip, mercy wears the face of stone, a monastic cell tucked deep in the church's belly. One narrow window barred against the world. No knob on your side to twist free. Protective isolation, they call it, a velvet lie, for locking you away sometimes for years, in a room of bare walls and straw mat. Cold gruel slid through the slot twice daily like a reluctant kiss. Human touch, rare as forbidden fruit. for your chaos is contagious emotional plague. Spiritual rot, atmospheric venom. Monks murmur prayers outside your door, a kindly one slipping herbs or psalms. His voice, a low rumble hinting you've seen worse than him this week. Not always monastic, in shadowed Islamic cities or fledgling asylums of London and Paris by the 13th century shelter. Trump's cure recovery a distant dream. Intrigue simmers are you, divine touched, a prophet teetering on peculiarity or just inconvenient. Families beg monasteries to take you donations, sealing the deal, sparing explanations for Uncle Thaddeus's Latin shouts in the Cadbeach patch. Violence absent, hopefully no chains, no torture, but the door's lock clicks, like betrayal's whisper, easier than unravelling your mind's knots. You press against the stone, feeling the world's pulse fade. Resilience, your only weapon in this gritty tomb. You, a woman in medieval Europe's unyielding grasp, feel the overwhelm, crash like a wave, irritable after birthing your 11th child, tearful under your 3rd husband's plague-tainted breath, your body a battlefield of unspoken desires. Congratulations, they sneer hysteria, a blanket curse for any behaviour that pricks men's unease. Not a true diagnosis, but a dismissal crying too much or not enough. Opinions, sharp as a hidden blade. Ambition, flickering like forbidden fire, all pinned on your rogue womb, hysteria in Greek. Wandering your body like a restless lover, sparking anxiety in your throat. Chronic sighs from your lips. Symptoms swirl, breath short as a stolen kiss. Nervousness tingling like intrigue's thrill. Fainting into arms that might betray emotional outbursts, raw as violence's edge. Too much thought devastating a medieval source, quips sarcasm dripping. Treatments, twist priests fasting and prayer physicians' herbs pressed warm against your skin or midwives' awkward stimulations to calm the wandering beast. Unsupervised shadows hiding sensual undercurrents. Marriage the cure if single wed to settle it. If bound pregnant again, chores piling like chains. Resist, see visions. Shun housework, speak Latin thoughts, and accusations escalate witchcraft your herbs and questions a violent rebellion against the order. Yet glimmers convents offer lighter burdens. Emotional storms as spiritual trials nuns penning anguish in modern echoes minus demons. Your strategy keep feelings quiet short, never murmur to your cat in public lest its gaze betray supernatural pacts. Empowered voices whisper defiance, but the tones gritty they loved fiercely fought, brutally lived defiantly. You step into the smoky cottage, the air thick with the sensual embrace of drying herbs. Valerian roots' earthy musk, mingling with lavender's floral whisper, teasing your senses like a lover's secret breath against your neck. In this medieval underbelly where monks chant blame and physicians bleed your spirit dry, the herbalist awaits an elderly woman with gnarled fingers that trace your palm's lines, her eyes sharp as a dagger's edge. Garden blooming with cats that slink like shadows of intrigue. She's the cunning folk unlicensed therapist of the damned, asking, not of humours, but when your sorrow bloomed, how you sleep tangled in sweat-soaked sheets if your mother-in-law's barbs cut like thorns. No scripture-quoting judgment. She brews teas that soothe your ragged nerves, tinctures slipping down your throat, warm and forbidden, while you rant of the neighbour's thieving pig words spilling like blood from a fresh wound. Sadness yields to calming infusions. Anxiety melts under chamomile's gentle caress. Mugwort or St. John's wort for deeper despair, poppy extract a velvet oblivion that blurs time's cruel edges. Generational wisdom, not books, guides her listening truly. A radical act that brands her suspect. The church eyes her as a threat, her independence, a violent rebellion against sin's monopoly, too effective, too confident, and whispers of witchcraft ignite a pyre's flame licking at her skirts. Yet she's your sanctuary, blending herbs with protective candles, assuring you're not cursed, just weary, underappreciated her touch, a spark of resilience in the grit. Compared to monastic locks or monkish yells over goat skulls, this is holistic luxury, even if onions rub your feet raw. You lie in the dim hut, sadness plaguing you like a lover's betrayal. Excessive thoughts swirling violent as a storm's fury when the healer half-mad himself binds a dead owl to your head. its feathers soft against your scalp, wisdom's symbol sucking confusion through your skin while flies buzz like whispered intrigues. In this medieval mishmash of dreams and desperation cures bloom-wild, anxious heart-pounding. They grind emeralds to sparkling dust, rubbing it on your chest where it glitters like forbidden jewels, or force tiny swallows that ruin your gut and gems alike. Astrology's vibe check blames Mars's foul mood treatment a wait for Jupiter's kinder gaze. Wrap in wolf's skin during thunder's roar to scare madness away, for rough and warm against your flesh. Whisper sorrows into a black dog's left ear, let it bolt with your pain like a hairy courier fleeing betrayal. Smoke herbs stuffed in pigeons wave near your head in aromatic chaos, annoying the bird as much as your scent. Nun work, pilgrimage calls pack sandals, staff in hand, trek miles to holy sites, blisters distracting from emotional thorns, body aching with each step's gritty resolve. These bird-based experiments, wildly misinformed yet laced with hope, remind you medicine was no malice, just pantry-fueled fantasy. In a world of leeches and chants, they offered Prozac's ghost a spark against the dark, even as violence lurked in the cure's absurdity. Imagine the owl's lifeless eyes staring back a cliffhanger of your unravelling mind. You spot him in the village square, that guy dressed in rags patched with dreams, muttering blessings to clucking chickens or cursing puddles that reflect his fractured gaze, a wild spark in his eyes like a hidden flame. In medieval lanes, thick with mud and whispers, society doesn't always chain or douse him with holy water. Sometimes they let him be a quirky fixture like the crooked well or the goat claiming the road. Oddly progressive in an era of fear, this tolerance absorbs the visibly mad into life's gritty weave, unpredictable as weather's wrath. He or she, though women risk witchcraft's pyre, holds a peculiar niche, not threat, not jest, occasionally revered as God's touch or grudging respect for chaos's edge. Cryptic phrases under the sun, divine prophecy or just Wednesday's whim. Nicknamed Old Will the Wanderer, Mad Meg, Tom Fool, pub-worthy monikers born from ale-fueled pondering. He sleeps in abandoned mills, church porches or barrels like Diogenes' townsfolk, granting wide berth or charity a baker's crust blacksmith's mended stick children, staring despite warnings, their wide eyes mirroring your own intrigue. Compassion flickers guilt and damnation's fear fueling arms in this superstitious haze. But tolerance frays if shouts turn violent, unsettling the market's peace priests descend, isolation beckons. Or worse, a betrayal's blade in the night. You ponder in a world debunking chivalry's gloss, survival's blood and hunger. This madman's freedom, a wry gift, stubborn. Humanity shining through the savagery. You lie in your flea-infested bed, staring at the ceiling's cracks like veins of despair, the world, a slow-motion mudslide dragging your spirit low, persistent fatigue, joy's absence, Monday's eternal. In medieval judgment, this isn't brain's chemistry or life's grind. It's acedia, a spiritual sin before sloth claimed the spotlight deadly as a lover's poisoned kiss. Not mental woe, but failure of the soul sadness, a divine good apathies, chill, grip, lack of joy in toil's endless chain. Monks cloistered in stone silence dub it the noonday demon, a poetic haunt striking mid-prayer, turning psalm-copying to wall-staring existential dread. Modern burnout, then moral crisis, demanding rebuke and beads. No comfort cradles you. Pray harder, work till bones ache, cease selfishness. They command depression, rebranded laziness with holy thorns. Your fault, unrepented sins, secret pride, or Satan's whisper, winning the war. Speak your sorrow aloud. Contagious as betrayal's breath, emotional mildew, seeping into monastery walls or village hearths. Layfolk too know exhaustion from grief, just confession's lash and guilt-built sheds. Ironically, monks' writings echo modern numbness, fatigue, restlessness, suicidal shadows, but prescribe fasting and sin cataloguing alphabetically, a wry inventory of the damned. In a realm of two shirts, one flea-ridden, you'd think laughter a balm against plague and mud, yet its suspect a gateway to chaos's violent embrace. They loved, fiercely fought, brutally lived, defiantly human, stubborn as ever. You burst into laughter amid the plague's shadow mud-splattered streets, echoing your mirth, a chuckle slicing through the leech-heavy nightmare like a blade through flesh. Yet in medieval Europe, joy's peal ring suspicious a moral alarm tolling danger. Not happiness's balm, but gateway to chaos, sin perhaps, dancing's wild abandon, theologians warn with the furrowed brows. Peasants guffaw at feasts, jesters tumble for coins, monks crack smiles at scandalous geese but excess mirth. Demonic whisper, spiritual disorder brewing like forbidden ale. Thomas Aquinas' humorless sage decrees moderation laughter, serving higher purpose uncontrolled giggles, a red flag waving vanity's banner. Women doubly damned, a cackling dame clearly plots witchcraft, her glee, a seductive veil over intrigue while solemn silence marks piety or dehydration's quiet defeat. The mad's laughter. Inopportune bursts at funerals or goat milking, not eccentric but possessed involuntary titters, a tambourine clanging harbinger of illness or devil's grasp. Religious orders ban novices' mealtimes, guffaws, prayers, chuckles, any spark of connection quenched like a lover's flame. Yet humanity rebels, festivals roar with satire, poetry's bite, armpit noises, drawing crowds, risky, joy tolerated but untrusted. In this gritty tone, laughter's edge cuts deep congrats on surviving the raid, pity about the frostbite turning black. They fought, loved, bled humans stubborn as ever, finding resilience in a wry grin against the savagery. You murmur to your cat in the flickering candlelight, its green eyes locking with yours like a shared secret quirky today but heretical. Then medieval society draws lines on conversations people, fine for priests preferred, but animals or invisibles. Eyebrows arch torches ignite sanity questioned, or light exorcism scheduled. Cats tread danger's edge, pest killers yet church shunners, sleek mysteries. Confide too often and she's your familiar devil scent with whispers of herbs and neighbour's hidden cheese, a sensual pact sealed in fur's caress. Birds suspect bestiaire is brimming half-truths if a crow croaks your future not poetry but sanity's treason. Dogs loyal till robed in dreams, quoting scripture, a supernatural twist. Angels hover everywhere, texts claim watching. Protecting, thundering, ominous messages. Claim visions and you're saintly in a monastery, hush mad or possessed, yelling at squares clouds. Imaginary friends. Children pass, adults risk, prophet lunatic or bonfires embrace, no middle ground in this gritty realm. Mystics like Hildegard claim divine chats cloistered and intimidating tolerated. But peasant Bertram squirrel theologizing, no manuscripts for you. Intrigue brews betrayal in every unseen whisper, violence a heartbeat away if tones turn too intimate. Empower marginalized voices, women as cunning leaders, peasants, rebels, yet tones intense seductive for stolen moments, visceral for tolls, empathetic for resilience. Forget nights, survival was blood hunger, defiant purrs in the dark. You watch from the crowd as the village fool capers in the square, his bells jingling like mocking laughter, body twisting in grotesque delight while onlookers toss scraps or jeer, a living curiosity blending pity and entertainment in medieval grit. Not always locked away, the mentally ill become spectacles, natural fools to use, tolerated for divine amusement or community diversion, their oddities a mirror to society's fragile sanity. But cross into disruption and tolerance snaps like a brittle bone. Whispers turn to accusations, a violent shove into exile's shadows. Families bear the brunt shame's heavy cloak, hiding afflicted kin in attics or cellars. Doors bolted against prying eyes, meals slid under, like guilty secrets. No public confession. Instead, muffled cries echo in the night, a betrayal of blood ties strained by love and fear. Beg monasteries for mercy, donations grease the wheels, swapping home's cage for stone-walled solitude, sparing neighbours' stares. Women especially shrouded their woes, whispered as hysteria or witchcraft, an essential curse demanding silence. Yet empathy flickers, some see God's touch in madness. Resilience in the ravaged mind, empowering the marginalised with quiet agency. In this intense tone, seductive whispers of forbidden desires mingle with visceral tolls of isolation, wry sarcasm underscoring the paradox they survived raids but frostbite gnawed. Humans stubborn, defiant in their savagery and passion. You feel the shift in the air like a lover's breath turning from cold disdain to tentative warmth As medieval perceptions of madness evolve under distant influences, Arabic texts seeping into Europe via crusades and trade, their pages whispering of bodily imbalances over demonic fury. No longer solely sins mark mental woes gain compassionate edges. Early hospitals sprout in Islamic realms, blending care with custody, a model trickling to Christian lands by the 13th century. Think London's Bethlehem, Paris's Hôtel Dieu, shelters where chains loosen herbs, replace blades peace. Routines foster stability amid the chaos. Intrigue brews in scholarly halls, physicians debate humours anew. Incorporating Avicenna's insights, treating melancholy with baths and music, a seductive melody against the soul's storm. Violence recedes, though not vanishes. Exorcisms linger for the dramatic, but empathy empowers the marginalised women as healers, peasants as patients worthy of dignity. Gritty. Gritty tone persists. No miracles, just incremental mercy, wry acknowledgement that suffering's cosmic or bodily resilience, the thread binding all. Late Middle Ages hint at progress, pilgrimages for healing relics with gentler touch. Monasteries as refuges where prayer meets practical aid. Debunking romance, forget Cheval, Rick aid. It was blood hunger, defiant love. They fought brutally, lived fiercely, human stubborn in their evolving grace. You lean back against the rough-hewn wall of your medieval hovel, the flickering candlelight casting shadows that dance like forbidden lovers across the dirt floor, your body aching from the day's toil, mind swirling with the ghosts of ancient cures. From humour's sloshing betrayal, bloodletting's violent slash draining your vitality leeches, sucking with essential greed to the moon's eerie pull, scrambling your thoughts like a lover's jealous rage, perceptions of madness evolved in gritty increments. Priests wielded exorcisms as theatrical evictions, chants pounding like heartbeats in frenzy, demons expelled with holy water's stinging kiss, or sage's burning choke, while monasteries offered isolation's cold embrace cells where silence gnawed at your soul, relics pressed warm against skin pulsing with unspoken desires. Women's hysteria, that wandering womb's intrigue treated with midwives' intimate manipulations or marriage's binding chains, escalated to witchcraft's pyre if defiance sparked too bright. Herbalists whispered relief in smoky cottages, teas slipping down your throat like illicit promises, yet church suspicion ignited violent accusations. Imaginative follies, owls bound to heads, gems ground into dust rubbed on heaving chests, blended hope with absurdity, pilgrimages, blistering feet in resilient quests. Town madmen wandered as spectacles or shame's Acedia's spiritual sloth lashed with guilt. Laughter's suspicion veiling plots, animal whispers risking heresy's blade. Late compassion bloomed from Arabic whispers, hospitals blending care with custody shifting from sin's violent grip to bodily mercy. Through it all, human resilience gleams stubborn defiance against the savagery loving fiercely amid the blood and hunger themes of survival woven with passion's thread, a hypnotic rhythm soothing even as darker elements intrigue. You feel the weight of centuries pressing on your chest like a lover's urgent body, the medieval world's raw perceptions of mental turmoil echoing into your modern haze. No Wi-Fi glitches, just frost and betrayal's sharp sting. Back then, anxiety was humour's violent imbalance drained by blades, or blamed on moon's seductive glow. Today you chase therapy apps or pills and wheeze, but the intrigue lingers. Demons rebranded as disorders, exorcisms swapped for scans, yet stigma's blade cuts deep. Depression's black bile mirrors SSRI's chemical fix, hysteria's wandering womb parallels, gender biases in diagnoses, women's woes dismissed as hormonal storms. Herbalists' intuitive teas foreshadow holistic vibes. Chamomile's calm kiss against anxiety's grip, while isolation's stone cells evoke asylum's lingering shadow, compassion evolving, but betrayal's whisper persists in over-medication or neglect. Laughter's suspicion. Now Mime, culture's edge, hiding pain in viral jests. Talking to pets. Therapy animals nod approval, but invisible still risk labels. Public spectacles transform into reality TV breakdowns, family shames hidden in private clinics. Acedia's noonday demon haunts, burnouts grind pilgrimages to wellness retreats, blistering credit cards instead of feet. Wry undertone, congrats on surviving the board meeting, pity about the existential dread. Draw parallels, medieval grit, debunked romance, survival blood-soaked and desire-fueled. Now no leeches, but screen's cold light drains your spirit just the same. They loved fiercely fought, brutally humans defiant in every era's chaos. You pause in the flickering glow of your screen, the medieval echoes fading like a lover's whisper in the dawn, your heart still pounding from tales of humor's violent betrayal, demon's seductive grip, and resilience's defiant flame. Before we delve deeper into history's shadows, take a breath, dim the lights, let the fans hum, cradle you like a gentle embrace. If these stories ignite your curiosity, stir your senses with their gritty intensity, hit that like button, a small spark against the dark. Subscribe if you crave more joining, wanderers from distant lands in this nocturnal journey. Drop a comment, where do you tune in from under what moon's watchful eye? Is it midnight in misty London, dawn in sun-baked Cairo, or twilight in a bustling New York loft? Share your time, your place, what echoes of medieval madness resonate in your world. Perhaps confess your own humour, imbalance, or a modern parallel to hysteria's wandering curse. Your voices weave the tapestry richer, a community bound by intrigue and empathy. No Wi-Fi in those ancient nights, just frost and forbidden desires, but here connect, tell us your darkest tale, the one that makes your blood run hot. Like, subscribe, engage, together we debunk the romance, embracing the blood hunger and savage love that defined them. You exhale slowly the weight of medieval minds, lifting like mist from a bloodied field. Their perceptions a tapestry of raw fear and flickering hope. Humours drained in violent rituals, moons pulling at sanity's threads, demons evicted with chant's furious rhythm. Forget the romanticised knights in shining armour. Survival was visceral, a grind of blood and unquenched hunger, where mental anguish wasn't a private storm, but a public battleground laced with intrigue's seductive whispers and betrayal's sharp sting. They saw madness not as brain's quiet betrayal, but soul's savage rebellion against God humours, or the wandering womb's restless desire, treating it with leech's greedy suck, herbalist's forbidden brews, or isolation's cold unyielding embrace. Yet amid the grit resilience shone wise women empowering the marginalised with empathetic touches, monasteries offering structured solace, late shifts toward compassion, debunking sin's monopoly. Women wielded cunning as a weapon, peasants rose in defiant whispers, humans loving fiercely even as they fought brutally against the chaos. No cosmic neatness, just stubborn endurance themes of power dynamics clashing in class and gender wars, supernatural hints like forest spirits luring the lost. Modern parallels sting no therapy gills, but echoes in our stigmas where anxiety's blade cuts as deep. They live defiantly bleeding for meaning, in a world of frostbite and forbidden passions, and a hypnotic reminder we're not so different stubborn souls navigating the dark. You stand in the opulent hall of Versailles, the mirrors reflecting your gilded form endlessly, a labyrinth of illusions where every glance hides a dagger's glint or a lover's secretive smile. The air is thick with perfume masking the sweat of fear courtiers, swirling in silks that whisper like forbidden promises, their laughter a brittle facade over the suffocating truth. From afar, noble life gleams like a crown jewel, banquets flowing with wine, dances under chandeliers that drip light, like molten gold power wielded with a flick of a fan. But step closer, feel the corset's vice grip crushing your ribs, the weight of expectations heavier than any chain. This is no paradise, it's a velvet prison where etiquette's iron rules bind tighter than ropes. Every word a potential betrayal, every smile a mask for intrigue's sharp edge. In Kyoto's imperial court, the same deception reigns, samurai bows, hiding violent intents. Is a geisha's grace, a seductive veil over political machinations. The emperor's gaze, a blade that could sever alliances or ignite forbidden passions. You taste the bitterness beneath the honeyed words, the glamour, a cruel illusion that devours the soul. Violence lurks in the shadows, a poisoned chalice at the feast. A duel sparked by a whispered insult, blood staining the marble floors while the orchestra plays on. Sensuality tempts in stolen touches during the minuet, a hand lingering too long on silk-clad skin, heat building in the frost of courtly restraint. Intrigue weaves through it all, alliances forged in bedchambers, betrayal sealed with a kiss, the noble's heart a battlefield of desire and dread. No Wi-Fi here, just the frost of isolation amid the crowd, your resilience the only thread holding you from unravelling. Congrats on the title, pity about the soul-crushing ennui. You awaken to the ritual of the lever, the king's rising a spectacle where courtiers vie for the honour of handing you your shirt, their fingers brushing your skin with calculated sensuality, eyes gleaming with intrigue as they whisper secrets that could topple empires. In Versailles' gilded cage, every dawn is theatre, your body on display, vulnerability masked by pomp, the air charged with the threat of violence if a step falters, a rival's blade hidden in a bow's shadow. Across the sea in Japan's ancient courts, the day unfolds as kabuki politics tea ceremonies where a misplaced glance ignites betrayal, swords sheathed but ready to draw blood in honour's name, the geisha's fan fluttering like a lover's breath, concealing plots that twist like serpents. You feel the suffocation breath shallow under layers of brocade that bind like chains, each gesture rehearsed to perfection, a misstep inviting exile, or worse, a quiet poison in your sake body convulsing in silent agony while the court averts its eyes. Sensuality simmers in the rituals, a courtesan's hand lingering on your arm, heat sparking in the formal chill forbidden desires, fueling the night's clandestine meetings where passion erupts in violent ecstasy. Intrigue dominates alliances bartered in alcoves, whispers of rebellion against the emperor's gaze, your heart pounding with the thrill of potential downfall. Emotional beats crush you, the facade's weight pressing like a boot on your chest, isolation amid sycophant's resilience, your only armour in this performative hell. Wry sarcasm bites congrats on the silk robes, pity they choke the life from you. They loved fiercely fought, brutally lived, defiantly noble stubborn in their golden prisons. You gaze at the glittering array of jewels adorning your neck, their weight a seductive chain that pulls you deeper into the abyss, each gem a promise of status bought on credit's treacherous edge. In the lavish courts of Europe, extravagance isn't choice but necessity, a violent dance where appearance devours fortune nobles, drowning in debt to maintain the illusion of wealth, their silks and satins hiding the gnawing hunger of empty coffers. You feel the intrigue coil like a serpent loans from shady merchants' estates mortgaged to the hilt gambling dens, where fortunes flip with a card's whisper, kings encouraging the frenzy to keep courtiers dependent, their loyalty bought with borrowed gold. Sensuality fuels the fire feasts where wine flows like blood from a fresh wound, bodies pressing close in the heat of the night, forbidden liaisons, sealed in opulent chambers that cost more than a peasant's lifetime. But betrayal strikes swift, arrival exposes your insolvency, creditors descend like vultures, exile or prison the grim reward for the facade's collapse. Violence erupts in duels over unpaid bets, blades flashing, under chandelier light, blood staining the marble as the orchestra plays on. Your resilience wanes under the pressure. The gritty reality of noble life, a suffocating grip, wry sarcasm biting, congrats on the diamond tiara. Pity it's pawned tomorrow. They loved fiercely fought, brutally lived, defiantly trapped in golden cages, their passions the only true wealth. You ride across the vast English estates, the wind whipping your cloak like a lover's urgent grasp. Vast lands stretching endlessly, yet bound by the iron chains of credit nobles, leveraging future harvests for present splendour, their grandeur a facade cracking under debt's relentless pressure. In Russia's frozen courts, the same suffocation reigns, serfs toiling like shadows while lords parade in furs that hide empty purses, balls where vodka flows and dances mask the intrigue of borrowed fortunes, a czar's whim deciding rise or ruin. Sensuality ignites in the samovar's steam hands, brushing in waltzes that spark forbidden fires, bodies entwined in secret alcoves where passion's heat defies the winter's bite. But violence lurks a duel over a slight pistols at dawn, cracking the icy air, blood freezing on snow as betrayals unfold, a rival's whisper to the crown estates seized in the night. Intrigue weaves through alliances, marriages bartered like livestock children, pawns in games of power where love is a luxury few afford. Your isolation deepens amid the opulence, resilience fraying as mental decline creeps despair's quiet blade sharper than any sword. Gritty tone underscores no freedom in prestige, just performative leisure's chokehold, wry empathy for the trapped elite. Congrats on the title, Pity the Serf's blood buys your silk. They fought brutally loved, fiercely lived, defiantly nobles across realms stubborn in their lavish prisons. You feel the cracks forming in your mind like fine porcelain under the relentless pressure of a court's invisible vice. The opulence around you, a glittering trap that squeezes tighter with each forced smile. In the shadowed corridors of Versailles, or the icy halls of St. Petersburg, noble life devours the spirit. Endless rituals grinding your will to dust isolation amid sycophants, breeding a despair that claws at your throat like a lover's desperate grip gone wrong. Sensuality mocks you, the touch of silk against skin, once thrilling now chafes like chains forbidden, affairs losing their fire to paranoia's chill bodies, entwining in secret only to betray with whispers of scandal. Intrigue accelerates the fall, alliances shifting like sand, a misplaced word, igniting violent duels, where blades sing through flesh, blood splattering tapestries as your sanity frays. You rebel quietly at first, a stolen flask of wine numbing the ache, but soon defiance turns savage, smashing crystalline rage, screams echoing through marble. Or worse, the slow poison of opium's embrace, veins burning with false ecstasy. Emotional beats crush the facade's weight, pressing like a boot on your chest. Resilience crumbling as madness beckons, hallucinations of ghosts in the mirrors, paranoia turning friends to foes. Gritty tone bites no agency and prestige, just performative hell's chokehold, wry empathy for the elite's quiet unraveling. Congrats on the crown, pity it drives you to the edge. They fought brutally, loved, fiercely lived, defiantly noble, stubborn in their self-made tombs. You step into the grand ballroom, the air thick with perfume and underlying menace, chandeliers casting light like daggers on the swirling dancers, each twirl a test of loyalty where a wrong partner could seal your doom. In noble courts from London to Edo, alliances are forged in fireballs as battlefields veiled insults are slipping like poison into wine glasses, a fan's flutter concealing a seductive glance, or a signal for betrayal. Sensuality pulses bodies pressing close in the waltz, heat rising from skin, brushed in passing forbidden desires, igniting under the guise of decorum, fueling intrigues that twist like vines around throats. You navigate the minefield, a smile masking the violence brewing, a rival's glare promising a dawn duel, pistols cracking in the frost, blood freezing on snow as legacies hang in the balance. Emotional stakes soar, empower a marginalized voice with a whispered pact, or watch gender struggles play out, women wielding cunning smiles as weapons against patriarchal chains. Intrigue deepens the arc marriages, bartered like territory, children pawns in games where inheritance sparks savage feuds, knives flashing in shadowed alcoves. Your resilience tested the gritty reality, a suffocating web wry sarcasm underscoring congrats on the dance card. Pity each step courts death. They loved, fiercely fought, brutally lived, defiantly noble, stubborn threads in power's tangled web. You inherit the crumbling estate, its towers looming like accusatory fingers against the storm-tossed sky, the weight of lineage pressing on your shoulders, heavier than any armoured plate obligations chaining you to a legacy soaked in blood and whispered betrayals. In noble realms from Tudor England to Ottoman, Seraglio's inheritance isn't gift but curse, arranged marriages, sealing fates like wax on a death warrant, your body bartered for alliances, a night's passion in a stranger's bed birthing heirs or igniting violent feuds. Sensuality deceives the wedding, night's heated embrace, skin slick with desire, masking the intrigue of poisoned dowries or rival claimants lurking in shadows, daggers drawn under silk cheats. You navigate the web spies in your chambers, reporting every moan, every secret touch betrayal, a heartbeat away, a cousin's claim, sparking savage duels, swords clashing in dawn's chill blood mingling with dew as fortunes shift. Debts pile, like corpses after a battle, obligations to kin demanding tribute, your resilience tested as mental strain builds the facade cracking under surveillance's gaze. Gender struggles intensify women as cunning pawns wielding wit against patriarchal blades, empowering voices in hushed councils. Gritty tone underscores no freedom in bloodlines, just inherited chains, rice sarcasm, biting congrats on the title. Pity it comes with a noose. They fought brutally loved, fiercely lived, defiantly nobles bound by inheritance's unyielding grip. You retreat to your opulent chamber, the doors click a finality like a guillotine's drop, the facade shattering as tears streak your powdered face, hidden, suffering erupting in the silence where no courtier dares intrude. Behind Versailles' gilded doors or Kyoto's screens, nobles crumble despair's quiet violence, gnawing at your vitals, the pressure of performative perfection driving you to secret vices, wine's seductive burn or opium's hazy embrace. Numbing the ache, sensuality turns torment's stolen moments, with lovers fueling guilt's firebodies, entwining in frantic passion, only to part with betrayal's sting, a rival's whisper, exposing your weakness. Intrigue amplifies the pain, alliances crumbling like ash, a veiled threat in a perfumed letter, sparking paranoia, your mind fracturing. Under the weight hallucinations of ghosts in the tapestries, you rebel in shadows, smashing porcelain in rage, screams muffled by feather pillows or plotting quiet escapes that end in violent recapture, guards' boots thudding like heartbeats of doom, emotional toll, visceral isolation's frostbite on the soul, resilience fraying as spiritual deepens, prayers whispered in vain against the divine's indifferent gaze. Empower marginalised voices, women defying chains with cunning letters, peasants' echoes and servants' eyes. Gritty tone, empathetic, no glamour in the gloss, just raw humanity, wry sarcasm underscoring congrats on the privacy. Pity it's a tomb for your screams. They loved, fiercely fought, brutally lived, defiantly nobles, stubborn in their concealed agony. You sense the echoes across empires, the suffocating grip of noble life. A universal chain-binding souls from Versailles' mirrored halls to the forbidden city's crimson walls where emperors' whims dictate dances of death and desire. In Mughal India's opulent courts, silks whisper against skin in sensual caresses during Diwali feasts, yet beneath the fireworks' burst lies intrigue's blade-poisoned sherbet, slipping down throats, alliances shattered in harem shadows where eunuchs plot with violent precision. Feel the parallel in Aztec nobility feathers and jade, adorning bodies offered in ritual sacrifice. Hearts torn, beating from chests in displays of power, sensuality mingling with blood's metallic tang as priestesses wield obsidian. No. Is their eyes burning with Fabira? Bidden passion. Across Ottoman seraglio, Sultan's favourites navigate webs of betrayal, a whispered word igniting stranglings in silk cords, bodies entwining in heated nights only to be discarded like wilted roses. Violence, a constant lover's kiss. In African kingdoms like Mali's golden courts, griots sing of king's grandeur, but the pressure crushes debts to ancestors, fueling extravagant hunts where spears pierce flesh, intrigue among wives, sparking poisonings that leave thrones stained red. Gender struggles pulse women as cunning regents wielding influence like hidden daggers against patriarchal fortresses. Your resilience tested in this global tapestry, emotional, weight a shared suffocation, wry empathy for elites, trapped worldwide, no escape in prestige, just performative prisons. Congrats on the throne, pity the frost of isolation bites deeper than any blade. They fought brutally, loved fiercely, lived defiantly nobles, united in their lavish lethal parallels. You inherit the ghosts of noble legacies, their trapped lives haunting history's pages like whispers in a sealed tomb, born atop society's pyramid, yet never tasting freedom's breath, their stories a cautionary symphony of suffocation and splendour. In every court, from ancient Rome to Renaissance Florence, the facade crumbles in private Caesar's heirs, plotting in shadows' daggers, plunging into flesh amid sensual banquets, blood pooling under marble as intrigue claims another crown. Feel the legacy's weight, sensuality twisted into two lovers' embraces, fueling violent coups, bodies arching in ecstasy only to stiffen in poison's grip betrayal, a constant companion in gilded cages. Women rise as defiant queens like Cleopatra's cunning serpents, wielding wit against male blades, empowering voices that echo through time, yet often silenced by garrots or flames. Violence defines the inheritance duels, scarring lineages, rebellions, crushing spirits, the mental toll, a slow bleed despair's blade, carving hollows in once vibrant souls. Intrigue lingers, alliances forged in bedchambers, shattered in council halls, resilience, the thread binding fractured psyches. Global echoes resound samurai's seppuku in frozen dojos, Aztec lords' hearts offered to gods all trapped in performative hells. Gritty reflection, no true agency, just illusions of power, wry sarcasm underscoring, congrats on the birthright, pity, it's a noose disguised as a crown. They loved, fiercely fought, brutally lived, defiantly in a noble's legacies, a tapestry of trapped defiance, stubborn humanity shining through the cracks. You stand at the edge of Crete's sun-baked hills, the wind carrying whispers of ancient myths through olive groves, your skin prickling with the thrill of discovery, as the ruins of Knossos emerge like a lover's secret unearthed from time's embrace. This palace heart of the Minoan world blurs, legend and stone, the labyrinth where Theseus slew the Minotaur bull-headed beast born of forbidden passion, its corridors twisting like veins of intrigue. Arthur Evans, the archaeologist with a flair for drama, unearthed it in 1900, his spade revealing a civilization predating Greece's classics, vibrant frescoes leaping from walls like echoes of sensual rites. You feel the wonder, no fortified walls suggesting peace or arrogance, a society where art flourished over war, women held power in snake-wrapped grace. Supernatural hints linger, whispers of sea gods and earth-shaking bulls, rituals in shadowed chambers, where blood might have flowed in ecstatic violence. Intrigue builds. Was it a palace temple, or both? Rulers blending divine and mortal in heady unions. Emotional beats stir awe at ingenuity, mystery in undeciphered scripts. Resilience in a culture that rose from ashes multiple times. Gritty tone debunks romance. Forget idyllic utopias. Survival was trade's sharp edge, earthquakes' brutal shakes. They loved, fiercely fought, subtly lived, defiantly Minoans, stubborn architects of enigma. You descend into Knossos' multi-level maze, the stone cool under your fingers like a lover's skin in twilight, light wells piercing the depths to flood chambers with sun's golden caress, banishing shadows where intrigue might lurk. This architectural marvel, sprawling over acres, defies time. Grand staircases spiralling like serpents' columns tapered upside down in bold defiance, painted vivid red to evoke blood's vital flow or ritual's sensual heat. Ingenuity shines, plumbing systems channeling water through terracotta pipes, flushing toilets a luxury, and Bronze Age grit baths, where bodies gleamed under scented oils, perhaps sites of forbidden trysts. No grim fortifications. Openness suggests confidence, trade routes, weaving alliances, yet vulnerability to invaders' violent blades. Emotional beats pulse wonder at the engineering mystery and the layout's purpose, resilience against quakes that toppled and rebuilt it thrice. Supernatural whispers, central courts for bull-leaping spectacles athletes, vaulting horns in death-defying grace, blood splattering sand if grips failed. Intrigue in the designed storage magazines, hoarding wine and oil symbols of power's hoarded desires, frescoes hinting at matriarchal sway, gritty tone, no utopia, just practical splendor amid seismic savagery, wry sarcasm, congrats on the throne room. Pity the earth shakes it apart. They loved, fiercely fought nature brutally, lived defiantly, Minoans, stubborn innovators in stone and myth. You weave through Knossos' twisting corridors, the walls closing in like a lover's possessive embrace. Each turn a whisper of ancient secrets, the layout a deliberate enigma blending practicality with myth's dark allure. Symbolic or functional, these passages evoke the labyrinth of legend where Minos imprisoned the Minotaur bullman born of Pasiphae's forbidden lust, its roars echoing in stone veins designed to confuse and contain. You sense the intrigue rooms branching unpredictably storage pits, hiding treasures or sacrifices the design, thwarting invaders, or perhaps concealing rituals of blood and ecstasy. Emotional beats heighten tension in the disorientation wonder at the engineering that guided Light and Air through the maze resilience in rebuilding after Quake's violent shakes. Supernatural elements tease whispers of Daedalus's cunning craft wings of wax and feather, promising escape but delivering tragic falls a metaphor for Hubris's blade. Gritty reality grounds it no mere puzzle but a living complex, where Minoans navigated daily trade goods flowing like blood alliances forged in shadowed alcoves. Wry sarcasm bites congrats on the clever design. Pity at trapped beasts and kings alike. They loved fiercely fought chaos, brutally lived defiantly, Minoan stubborn weavers of stone and legend. You gaze upon Knossos' vibrant frescoes, colours leaping from plaster like pulses of life, bull leapers vaulting in mid-air grace their bodies arched in sensual tension. Muscles rippling under sun-kissed skin as horns graze perilously close. Lilies bloom eternal on walls, symbols of fertility's seductive bloom. The prince of lilies, striding with peacock feathers his form, androgynous fluidity in gender, a bold Minoan statement where men and women blend in power's dance. Celebration triumphs over war. No grim battles, but processions of lithe figures bearing gifts, robes flowing like caresses, eyes locked in intriguing glances that hint at alliances or rivalries sealed in shadowed rites. You feel the emotional surge, joy in the vitality mystery, in the scene's purpose, resilience in art that survived Quakes' brutal fury. Supernatural whispers, snakes coiled around goddesses' arms, evoking Earth's chthonic desires, rituals where blood might spill in ecstatic violence. Gritty tone debunks idyll. These were no mere decorations, but propaganda of prosperity trades as wealth, fueling the palate intrigue in omitted conquests. Wry empathy congrats on the peaceful motifs, pity the bulls met blades off canvas. They loved fiercely fought, subtly lived defiantly, Minoan stubborn painters of beauty amid the grit. You encounter the snake-handling priestesses in Knossos' frescoes, their forms commanding the scene with a sensual authority bare-breasted, and adorned in flounced skirts that sway like invitations to mystery snakes coiling around arms in erotic embrace, symbols of Earth's fertile power or underworld's dark allure. Minoan society elevates women to prominence, perhaps a matriarchy where goddesses reign supreme, their influence, weaving through rituals and rule empowering female voices in a world where men might bow to their cunning gaze. Emotional beats resonate admiration for the agency's intrigue and the possible queen priestesses, directing bull cults, resilience in a culture that centered feminine divinity amid seismic upheavals. Supernatural elements entwined snakes as chthonic messengers biting with venomous wisdom rituals, hinting at ecstatic trances where blood and desire merge in violent communion. Gritty. Reality tempers, no utopia power. Dynamics, clashing in hidden rivalries. Women's roles tied to fertility's brutal demands, childbirth's risks, sacrifices blades. Intrigue deepens were they rulers or figureides, their proponents a facade for male kings' shadows. Wry empathy congrats on the divine status. Pity the serpent's fangs remind of mortality. They loved fiercely fought patriarchy, subtly lived defiantly, Minoan stubborn celebrants of feminine might. You step into Knossos' intimate shrines, the air heavy with incense's sensual haze, lustral basins gleaming, where purifying waters washed skin in ritual caresses, preparing bodies for mysteries that blended devotion with desire's edge. Central courts host bull-leaping spectacles, athletes' leaps, a dance of life and death horns grazing flesh in thrilling proximity blood, possibly anointing the ground in violent ecstasy if grips failed. Double axes, laborious symbols carve the air with authority, shrines dedicated to earth-shaking Poseidon, or mother goddesses, their altars stained with offerings, wine oil, perhaps animal hearts throbbing their last. Emotional beats intensify tension in the rite's peril wonder at communal bonds, resilience against nature's quakes that toppled shrines only to see them rise anew. Supernatural threads weave whispers of oracles in trance visions induced by herbs, or frenzy, divine interventions manifesting in tremors or bountiful harvests. Gritty tone grounds rituals, not mere pageantry, but survival's stake famine's threat demanding blood intrigue